Climate change in the U.S. In 2013, the U.S. greenhouse gas emissions totaled at 6,673 million metric tons, which is 16% of the global total GHG emissions.
Taken as a whole, the range of public evidence indicates that the net damage cost of climate change is likely to be significant and to increase over time.
Current effects and consequences. Earth's average temperature has risen by 1 degree Celsius during just the 20th century. Earth has been losing sea ice, the glaciers have been shrinking, trees have been flowering earlier, and animals and plants ranges have shifted.
Future effects and consequences. The temperature could rise 2.5 to 10 degrees Celsius over the next century. Sea level could also rise 1 to 4 feet, and natural disasters will become more severe.
Kyoto Protocol. The Kyoto Protocol extended the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in 1992. It is an international treaty with an objective to fight global warming by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The commitment period began in 2008, and the United States decided not to ratify the protocol.
Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. This event was the first regulatory initiative in the United States to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This initiative only includes the states of Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Massachusetts, Maryland, Vermont, New Hampshire, New York, and Rhode Island. With this program, the power sector's CO2 emissions were reduced and capped.
Western Climate Initiative. The Western Climate Initiative is a group of Western states and Canadian provinces working together to prevent further climate change. This nonprofit organization helps these regions implement trading programs for greenhouse gas emissions.
COP19. The COP19 was held in Warsaw, Poland in November 2013. It was decided that they would cap global temperature rises to 2 degrees Celsius and limit greenhouse gas emissions.
Current U.S. actions. The Clean Air Act granted the authority of the EPA to begin a new program to reduce carbon emissions. This was launched in January of 2011 and began to tackle the largest sources of carbon emissions. 2 rules were also proposed by the EPA under the Significant New Alternatives Policy Program in 2014 in hopes to smooth the transition from hydrofluorocarbons to an environmentally friendly alternative.
U.S. plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the future. The U.S. has several plans to continue to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The Obama administration has proposed that we invest billions of dollars in green energy technologies to, for example, advance the next generation of biofuels and fuel infrastructure, accelerate the commercialization of plug-in hybrids, promote development of commercial-scale renewable energy, and modernize the nation's electrical grid. Many of these goals were embodied in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, commonly known as the Stimulus Package, enacted in early 2009. This information came from neaq.org. American Clean Energy and Security Act will also reduce carbon emissions from 2005 by 83% by 2050. 2025 will hold the strictest fuel economy standards in the U.S. for passenger vehicles, requiring an average performance of 54.5 miles per gallon. The Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative plans to reduce the CO2 cap initially decided by 2.5% each year between 2015 and 2020.
Is it enough? The U.S. is not doing nearly enough to mitigate the problem of climate change because of the rate at which it is occurring. Although progressive actions are being made, we need to be acting faster to make up for the time that we lost when governments neglected climate change as a whole. Now that the world is beginning to make changes and understand climate change on a more serious level, we need to be making large changes fast. The United States could use a small fraction of its spending on issues related to helping the environment. The United States is working hard to combat climate change along with several other countries, but overall, major change needs to be occurring on a faster timeline in order to prevent it from worsening further. Maybe we should leave.